All right. Welcome to episode 16.
16. Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Episode Sweet 16.
Of our Run Club, the podcast. So we're going to talk a little bit about footwear today, right?
Yes.
But before we get into that, how the heck you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. I cannot complain. I'm doing all right. I had a day off yesterday. Had a nice run. Able to get some chores done. While my kids were in school. Did have my taxes done. Went to Cub Scouts. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Looks like a good day off. Very
Yeah.
productive.
It was productive and it was good.
How far did you run? What'd you do?
I ended up doing 7 miles, which was good. Yeah, it felt good.
Awesome.
I felt like I could have gone and done a couple more, but I just, things I needed to do.
Right.
Kind of tucked it in there midday, so, yeah.
Nice.
Weather was nice, it was very warm.
Shorts? You go shorts?
I went half tights.
Oh,
So,
all right.
yeah, I was going to wear shorts, but I don't know. Half tight was, and I was kind of in a hurry, I don't want to dig around.
Now, are half tights like a capri?
No.
those are three-quarter tights.
No capris. I don't wear capris.
So half tights come above the knee.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, exactly. So they're almost like shorts.
Yeah.
They're just a little more snug.
A little more form
A
fitting.
little form-fitting, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Sweet.
And I actually had to peel off layers. I had a really light jacket on top, and I had to peel that off as I got moving because it was warm. It's definitely very warm. How about you? How have you been?
I've been all right.
Yeah.
You know, working. This is spring break week for
Ooh,
me,
yeah.
so I haven't been
Right.
going to school, which has been like a nice break.
Have
You know,
you-
I went to Cancun.
You went to Cancun?
Did, you know, got into a wet t-shirt contest, and
You probably won.
I took home the prize. You know, no, it's been good.
Do you have homework assignments for
See, I
spring
don't.
break?
Yeah, I don't technically, but I have like this independent study class that I'm doing, so I got a lot of those things done. At least a few of those things done.
You're a madman for responsibility. You're taking classes right now. You've got a baby on the way,
On the way.
right?
A lot of chores I got to do too.
Yeah.
Trying to pick up the slack, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So running wise, I did a few miles here and there. I've been trying to do like more gym stuff, lifting weights and things, and then like 3 to 5 miles. So it's been good.
Got it out there.
Yeah, you know, I strap on the old running shoes.
Put the old running shoes
on
on.
the treadmill, and we're out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready to run. So running shoes. We should probably talk about that.
Yeah,
We've only got so much
that's what
time.
we said we would talk
Yeah.
about.
So where do you want to start? You know, you want to start with like the, you know, we can start with how they're made, what they're made of, how they fit, brands we like. Where do you want to start?
I mean, I think that, when if we're talking running, I think it's your foundation is the thing that you want to talk about
Mhm.
first, running shoes.
Right.
Right? I think I would say that they're probably your most important piece of equipment, So I guess we could talk a little bit about different kinds of running shoes.
Sure.
What do you think?
Yeah. So
What do we start with?
yeah. Well, there's you got all different brands.
Yes.
So every brand is gonna fit a little different and feel a little different. They all have different like technologies that they use for their cushioning and things. So like if you look at a shoe, right, you've basically got 3 parts to it. You've got your outsole, your midsole, and your upper. And so like the technologies that different brands use vary in those different spots. So like you have, say, a Nike shoe that uses Zoom Air packet in the midsole to give you some cushioning, whereas like an Asics would use a gel pad for the cushioning in the midsole.
Right.
And then on the upper, you've got some brands that use like Saucony here has a ISOFIT upper, which is kind of like a sock with a little cage around it. Nike has the Flyknit upper. Some brands use a mesh upper with no seam. Some have like a film over top. So different brands, different technologies, and then they all kind of fit different too. So they all use like different fake feet to build their shoes around. And so usually the goal is to kind of find the one that matches your foot shape
Right.
best, right? That's the key.
Right. The key, I think, is it's got to match your foot shape, and it has to feel kind of the way you want it to feel when you make impact with the ground. I think some runners like a really plush, really soft sensation when they make impact with the ground. Some not so much. Some like a very firm ride when they hit the ground. So yeah, it's
Right.
matching it up. That's why you have to go to a place that fits shoes. That's
Yeah.
is their job to fit shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a good local running and walking store is
Yes.
a good spot to go.
Yeah. So where someone will take a look at your gait. In other words, watch you walk, watch you run or run, and take a look at your feet when you make impact with the ground and in motion, and then gives you an opportunity to try different brands on, so you can really kind of get an idea of what's going to work best for you.
Yeah.
So.
And at a good spot, what they'll do is they'll ask a bunch of different questions, so they'll ask you your injury history, they'll ask you what you prefer, whether you prefer like a softer ride or a firmer ride, maybe what brands you've had in the past. It's always super helpful if you bring in those shoes that you've worn.
Good idea, yeah. Right, because looking at a shoe that you've worn kind of tells a person a lot about wear pattern,
Mm-hmm.
right? And, so that's important. Yeah, and what I find too, finding out about a person's needs. Are they going to go long distance? Are they training for something? Are they going to go short distance? Are they going to use it in the gym, on the treadmill? Are they going to use it on the road, trails, that kind of thing too.
Right,
So.
yeah. There are
Yeah.
different types of shoes for different activities. What kind of shoe do you prefer, Ray? What do you think? Do you like a softer, cushier shoe, a firmer shoe? Do you need a wider fitting shoe? What do you need?
Well, that question. Currently, I tend to like something with a little more cush to it, a little more cushion. And that's something that really kind of over the past 3 or 4 years I've kind of, I think, evolved into that type of runner. Whereas when I was younger, I really liked a really firm shoe, something that was really kind of responsive and kind of popped off the ground, hit the ground and just kind of popped right off, and it was really springy, lightweight. But these days I get a little trouble with my feet, and I get a little foot pain, and especially my right foot, so I need a little bit more cushion. But I like it to be light. I've always liked a really light shoe. I don't like something too heavy. And, so. Yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I used to like those kind of faster, lighter weight shoes, but now
Yeah.
I prefer something with a little more cushion. I think it's just because I'm getting old.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Could be
Need a little more protection.
a little more protection. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, do you have a certain brand that you gravitate towards too? Like
I-
the Hoka shoes?
Yeah.
That have a ton of cushioning?
Yep, I gravitate towards a Hoka shoe these days because I really like the cushion and I like the light feel. They're super light. You look at a Hoka shoe and it looks like there's a lot there, and there is, but it leads you to think that it's going to be very heavy, and it's not.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, they do a good
I
job.
like that.
Yeah, one thing we didn't talk about with the kind of the way the shoe's made up.
Yeah.
Some shoes do have like support built into them
Right.
too. So there's a lot of different theories on whether you need a ton of support or not. But when you go to like that running store and they do that gait analysis, they might recommend a shoe that has like a little bit of support underneath the foot, and that's typically beneficial for anybody who has had like plantar fasciitis before, other kind of injuries like Achilles issues, maybe neuromas, things like that. If they watch you walk or run and they kind of see that you have some overpronation or your knees are kind of dropping in or your hips drop in, they might recommend a shoe that has a little bit of structure under the foot.
And we would call that
What?
well, typically we call it a stability shoe.
Oh yeah.
The stability category, you might hear that. You might hear stability category or support or guidance, something to provide a little support there under your arch.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's different levels of it. So like you'll have some shoes that have like a little bit of support, and then you have another shoe that has a little bit more, and then one that has like a ton built into it. Most people tend to fall kind of like right in the middle there, with maybe they need like a little bit of support, but not too much. And nowadays, like most people gravitate towards more cushioned shoes as opposed to stability shoes, just because I think they're more comfortable.
Yeah.
What's cool, I like nowadays is like the technology is kind of getting to a point where, you know, they'll build support into a shoe, but it won't be super intrusive, you know?
Okay.
So like you'll have a shoe that will have support in it if you need it, but if you don't need it, it won't bother you so much,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Like with the Nike shoes, they have the structure. Triax is built, or it's not called the structure Triax anymore. The structure is built with dynamic support, they call it. So again, if you need that support, you'll engage it. If you don't, you just kind of run around it, which is super cool.
That's kind of neat, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I speak to some runners and they tell me that, you know, they have a low arch or flat foot, and you know, they get into like a stability shoe, and they've had trouble with those stability shoes because they don't like it. It feels too structured.
Yeah.
You know, there's like a big, you know, might be a big chunk of dense foam underneath their arch, and they don't like that. And so, something that's more dynamic that might be the way to go.
Right.
Might be a little more comfortable for them.
Yeah, they might not feel, it might not feel quite as intrusive, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of an experiment, I find, trying different shoes out
Oh, for
and
sure.
wearing them and going out. The true test is getting out there and doing some miles and seeing what works for you. And you know, sometimes you don't hit it on the, you don't hit it on the first try. You know, it's kind of an experiment of one, finding out what works best for you.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so like if you do go to that store, they'll give you like 3-4 options to try, and ideally they'd have like a treadmill or a track or something where you can try them out. In the store at least, get a few strides in them so you can kind of feel what they feel like when you're running. Because a lot of people will just like, I don't know, it's kind of funny working at a shoe store, that like the way that people test shoes sometimes. Like they'll put the shoes on and then they'll just like jump up and down, or they'll like do like some stretches in them. I'm like, are you just gonna be jumping up and down in these
Right.
shoes? What are you gonna be doing? So like, go for a run, jog up and down the sidewalk or the track or the treadmill. You know, they're gonna feel different running than they do just standing. You know.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to, when trying shoes, give them a run, see what they feel like. Obviously, you're gonna really need to get them out there and do some extended time in them, but I think it's important to really run them out and see how they're gonna feel when you make impact with the ground. You know, or you know, if you're gonna use them in the gym, do some of the movements and that your exercises that you're going to do, so you can really get a feel for them. So,
Yeah, totally.
you know,
What are the differences between, say, like a shoe that I'm gonna run in, or a shoe that I'm gonna just use like lifting weights or going to like a gym class?
well, I mean, it all depends on the exercises that you're going to be doing or the maneuvers that you're going to be doing. But to me,
doing the Heimlich maneuver.
if you're gonna do the Heimlich maneuver, yeah. I mean, I would think that if you're in a gym and you're going to be doing some lifting, or you're going to be doing some types of exercises where you might be doing some kind of lateral side-to-side movement, you might not want something that's so stacked and has stacked up high with cushion. You might turn your ankle. That's something you don't want to do, you know.
So something like a little lower to the ground.
A little lower to the ground.
Maybe has some lateral support built into it.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, you're probably going to be better off, you know, not risk turning an ankle or something like that. Or, yeah.
Right, and there are some shoes that kind of work well for both, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, cross trainers are tricky because like cross trainers aren't really good at either thing. Like they're not a good running shoe and they're not a good kind of workout shoe. They're just kind of like, shoes, you know?
Yeah.
But what we would recommend is like just a running shoe that is able to kind of do those other things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you won't suffer too bad in the running world. If you end up, like if you run in a training shoe, then you could cause some more issues. But if you train in like a lower profile running shoe, you could probably get away with it a little easier. But ideally, you'd have one for each. You know, you'd have like a shoe that you use on the treadmill while you're running, and then you have a training shoe that's kind of built for, you know, like CrossFit if you're doing that, or it's built for basketball, or it's built for tennis or squash or whatever. You know, ideally you'd have those 2 different shoes, or 5 different shoes. If you do all of those things.
I won't tell you how many shoes I have in my rotation.
How many do you have, Ray?
My last count was probably about 12. I know it's excessive.
Shoes?
It's excessive.
That's double digits. It's
Running
crazy.
shoes.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of casual shoes and dress shoes and that type of thing, but like, you know, it's a rotation. Because I have a trail shoe,
Yeah.
I have a lightweight trainer that I might use in shorter distances, or like the speedier, up-tempo kind of running. Then I have a couple things that are a little bit bigger and bulkier. Yeah. I try to clean out, you know, my supply, when I can, you know, kind of keep it kind of low, because 12's kind of loud.
12's a lot.
Yeah.
That brings me to that's a good point. So like, rotating shoes is actually a good thing if you can. Like if you can afford 12 shoes, then
Yeah.
good for you,
Yeah.
Mr. Moneybags. But
Well,
if you if you can't, 2 pairs of shoes alternating between pairs can help like extend the life of a good pair of shoes. Usually, if you get a shoe that's like quality, usually the price point's going to be around $120 nowadays, which is nuts because it used to be like $85 back when I first started working in this world.
yeah.
But
Quite a lot, yeah.
yeah, it's funny though. They used the oil. Remember, oil was like real expensive back in the day.
Yes.
And then they were like, oh, it costs so much to ship the shoes and blah blah blah, so that we had to raise the prices. And then the oil prices went down, and
Shoe prices
shoe
go
prices
down.
did not go down.
You don't see that happening.
That's tricky.
Yeah.
That's
You rarely see when a new shoe comes out that it's gone down. I've seen it happen a couple of times, but not a lot.
Not often.
No.
But anyway, what the heck was I saying? Oh yeah, the shoes. Alternating shoes is good. So
Yeah.
shoes, typically, if you spend that money, $120, you're gonna get 350 to 500 miles out of a good pair of shoes.
Okay.
If you rotate, if you get 2 pairs and you alternate, you'll definitely hit closer to that 500 end of things, because it allows the foams underneath your foot to kind of bounce back. Usually you need about 24 hours for that midsole to kind of come from that compacted spot back to brand new,
Yeah. So it compresses, and then it will decompress. And you
over
get-
that 24-hour
Right,
period.
okay.
Yeah. So having that other shoe to run in will allow it to do that and then extend the life of them. You know?
Yep.
And you also want to make sure that you keep those running shoes just for running.
Yeah, I will tell folks that too, like, just dedicate them to running. Because you'd be surprised how much damage you do to a shoe when you're walking around. When you walk around them, right? Yeah.
It's true, man. It's true. Another thing to talk about maybe would be, the materials that they're made of up top there. So like they breathe a little bit more than like a basketball shoe would, or like a leather kind of shoe.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Keeps your feet dry in the
Yeah.
summertime when it's not raining.
Right. That's what I find. I don't know if you noticed this, but running shoes, there seems to be a big trend towards having an all knitted upper, or just. I find more and more running shoes, when I look at them, there's less of the material on top stitched on,
Seams,
that
less
plastic,
seams.
fewer seams, like less material, plastic material, or I remember using the suede that was used on running shoes.
Right.
You don't see that a lot,
Do you know what I find tricky because we work in the shoe store, it's tricky to explain to folks that having less of those seams actually makes the shoe more durable on top. You know what I mean? So it makes the shoe, usually where those seams kind of come together is where you'll kind of bust through them and you'll get a hole because that seam came apart.
Yeah.
What a lot of the brands are doing is they're moving towards kind of one piece of mesh or like a knit upper, like a sock-like upper,
Yeah.
and it not only makes the shoe a little bit lighter, but it can make them a little bit more durable because you don't have those seams coming together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and fewer seams. You know, you don't get, a lot of times you get with the seams, people will rub up against those. Some folks
Yeah.
are more sensitive than others to those seams, and sometimes that drives people a little bit batty.
Bananas.
Bananas, yeah. Some people are more sensitive to seams in the inside of the shoe, in the upper. So
It's true.
the mesh is really, it breathes well, it's lightweight, it's comfortable, right? Smooth and soft and supple, it's great. Yeah, smooth
Like a
and
baby's-
soft
like
and
a
supple.
baby's rear end. You know?
Right,
That's how I want my shoes. Smooth.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite shoe specifically that you wear these days?
As far as the model is concerned,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brand, model.
I like the
favorite shoe.
Hoka Clifton, and currently the Clifton 5, and I'm also, Hoka did a really neat thing where they released their, the Clifton 1, the
Oh.
original,
A little
Clifton.
re-release.
a little re-release, which is really good. So I have a pair of the Clifton 5s and the Clifton 1s, and I love that shoe. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
just-
ones.
it fits my foot, and it feels the way I want